Hey everybody, how you doing? Tekking and Barry here, back again, and welcome, one and all, to the video. That's right, this is the one I've gotten a lot of requests for in the last few weeks. Very important subject matter revolving around One Piece, something huge. I know it's coming, it's on the horizon, we all know what I'm talking about. A lot of other YouTubers have already weighed in on this subject matter in particular, but it's finally time for me to throw my hat in the ring and discuss this. Today's video, and it's gonna be a long one, so I just hope you get ready, okay? This video is gonna easily be on the low end, at least 6 or 7 hours long, right? On the longest end, well, we might still be talking about it. If you look down at the YouTube bar, you can see how long the video is. Turns out the video was probably just so long that it actually broke, so that number isn't even accurate, right? We could still talk about this till like the inevitable heat death of the universe, right? So, yeah, just letting you know on this, grab some snacks or some cola, whatever you need to get by. This is going to be an in-depth analysis, discussion, and theory video, all revolving around Brooks Afro. That's right, Brooks Afro, the most Afro of all Afros, the secret to every secret in all of One Piece, the Void Century, Imu-sama's identity, all of that is inside of Brooks Afro. So let's just dive right in, Barry, because, you know, we're going to be here a while. Okay, so the first thing you got to do is you got to measure the circumference, okay? The hell was that? Barry, did you access the God Dungeon again? Whoa! Barry, if this isn't you, and this isn't me, I think something big is coming. What the hell? What the hell's that? Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! What is that? 1,000! Hold on. 1,000! Hey everybody, how you doing? And oh, by the way, that Brook Afro video could still very well happen in the future. Not entirely joking about that. But anyway, no. Today, we're talking about Chapter 1,000, baby. I saw a tweet today from Artur, and it was announced that as long as nothing else crazy out of the ordinary happens in the world, Chapter 1,000 of One Piece will be coming out January 4th of 2021. Okay, this has been a big discussion whether or not, you know, Oda was going to reach it by the end of the year. I get the idea Oda definitely wanted it to be before the end of 2020, but at the same time, a lot of stuff happened, and he had to push it back, you know. I think it's best for, you know, honestly, for it to start off the new year rather than capping off this year, okay? So now we have at least, all right, the beginning of next year, as long as nothing else goes awry, you know, of course, like the virus doesn't mutate into like a zombie plague, or the Yellowstone super caldera doesn't erupt, or turns out Unicron is the moon, and oh yeah, Transformers Armada reference, didn't think you'd get that in this video, well here we are. Unicron is the moon and launches a laser beam against the Earth, provided none of that happens. January 4th is when it's coming out, so now you can look forward to something, at least one thing about next year, at the beginning of next year to look forward to, okay? So yeah, like I said, a lot of other YouTubers have already tackled this. I know King of Lightning made a video about this, Brago just did one a few days ago, Mr. Morge, Grand Line Review, they've all talked about this, other YouTubers, and even I've mentioned this, like, in, like, the reviews, like, at the end of the reviews, I'll maybe mention something about Chapter 1,000. Sometimes I'm kind of serious, like, oh, maybe it'll have something to do with Kaido, or the battle, or something involving, you know, like Imu-sama or something. Sometimes I joke about it, like it's just gonna be a joke chapter, which, to be fair, alright, I'm just gonna come out and say it right now, okay? Let's say it's extraordinarily unlikely. I don't think Oda would do this. But if Chapter 1,000 did turn out to be kind of a joke chapter, you know, where Oda just draws, like, you know, I'm just gonna draw Buggy for 31 pages just goofing off at Karibari Island. Like, here's an expanded chapter, 31 pages of Buggy-sama just going through his normal daily routine or something. And it was just a big troll chapter. I would be sitting there reading that like, you know what? I can't be mad, because that would be like Oda being like, guys, I've been writing this damn thing since the 90s. You know, this one chapter, if I was gonna make one chapter to encapsulate, like, kind of my humor and stuff, here you go, have at it. We'll get back. I think actually Artur did say in the tweet there is going to be a break after Chapter 1,000, so prepare for that. But I'm just saying, like, it's not going to happen. It isn't going to be a joke chapter or anything like that. But if it was, me personally, I wouldn't be mad, because I'd be like, all right, that would be the ultimate move. Like, 23 years, all leading up to Chapter 1,000. Here's Buggy, just hanging out playing tennis or something. I'm like, yeah, okay. And I was like, yeah, sure, why not, right, Oda? Take a break from the action, then cut back to Kaido. All right, so to be serious, though, what could Chapter 1000 be? All right, well, I think there's two schools of thought here. School of thought number one, it's going to involve the battle with Kaido. Either Luffy and the gang arriving to fight Kaido, probably in the chapter before, like chapter 999, Luffy, Zoro, Kid, Law, anybody else that wants to get in on this, Jinbei, some of the scabbards are defeated, they can't fight anymore, but some of the other scabbards get back up for round 2, like Kinemon and Denjiro, they might still be able to fight, who knows who else, maybe a mysterious arrival at Wano at the 11th hour, you know, shows up, like even more so than we've already had, like with Marco and everybody, somebody else shows up, you know, there could be something involving that, building up to chapter 999, and then chapter 1000 is like when the fight starts, when Luffy, the man who will become king of the pirates, charges at Kaido, gear forth, you know, Bound Man, Snake Man, Lion Man, whatever you want to say, Ryuo, boom, and just punches Kaido right in his face. You know, could be that. A lot of hype for that, you know, Luffy wanting to train to get stronger to beat the crap out of Kaido. You know that is what Luffy's been trying to do. Ever since he learned Ryuo at the prison, hell, ever since freaking Kaido Thunder Baggera'd him, you know, the second Luffy woke back up after, you know, Kaido knocked his ass out, Luffy's like, I'm gonna punch him in the face. I'm gonna do it. I swear to God, next time I see him, I'm gonna get stronger. I'm gonna punch him square in the face. So chapter 1000 would be pretty epic for that. Zoro also being there, having some badass action moments with Zoro. So that's one angle to take it. Another angle to take it is it isn't going to involve Kaido and the battle directly. It might involve Kaido, i.e. Kaido's backstory. That is something that a lot of people are interested in. Maybe not necessarily just for Kaido. I, for one, would love to learn just about Kaido and his past and whether or not he's a real dragon or if he obtained devil fruit at some point. Like, what's all up with that? His past on the Rocks crew. But I think just inherently connected to that, a Kaido backstory would also include information about Rocksteady Zebek himself. And I think in the last few years, the topic has all been about Zebek and Im. Like, those are the two big figures that were revealed in just the last 2 years of One Piece that everybody wants to know about. We want to know about this great pirate that was the king of the pirates before Roger. Before Roger popularized, like, the term of king of the pirates, it was Rocksteady Zebek. And he wanted to rule the world, and he apparently died or disappeared at God Valley. So what the hell was up with that guy? He's got connections to Blackbeard in some way. Might be Blackbeard's dad. Might have, like, that inherited will thing. You know, Blackbeard's main flagship is the Saber of Zebek, so what's going on there? This is the guy Garp fought, for God's sake, so that's a really big deal with Zebek, and Big Mom, and Whitebeard, Shiki, Silver Axe, Kaido, oh, Captain Jean, of course, Wang Xi! She was also on Rocksteady Zebek's crew. What's up with all those guys? So if we get the backstory with Kaido at chapter 1000, or I don't know how the setup for that would go down, like right as Luffy is punching Kaido right in the face. I want you to picture that. Chapter 999, last page. Kaido's getting hit by like the King Kong Rio gun. Boom! And then, like, Kaido's, like, face is getting rattled, and it's, like, a double-page spread, and Oda's, like, drawing the detail of, like, the shockwaves rippling into Kaido's face. And then it's just an inner monologue with Kaido, like, oh, this takes me back to that one time Zebek, Captain Rocks, punched me in the face. And then it, like, fades out to, like, a backstory. Chapter 999. End. That could be one way to set it up, right? And so, yeah, it would be cool to learn about Kaido and Big Mom and Whitebeard back in their days as, like, you know, just regular pirates, not Yonko yet. But then Zebek would be the main aim. Going along with that, somebody else, the other person that was introduced in just the last 2 years. In 2018, we found out about the existence of the King of the Flipping World, apparently. Imu-sama, whatever, okay? Im. He's freaking scary. He's this lanky person. I don't know the gender. I don't know if this person is even technically alive. Could be a zombie, could be a ghost, could be an alien. No idea what's up with him, but a lot of people are curious. You know, a couple people, at least 3 people are curious on what's up with him. Giant hat in the basement of Marijois, connections to Joy Boy, Void Century. If there's anybody in the entire world that knows the most about the Void Century, I'm sure the Gorosei know a lot. I'm sure, you know, maybe some other people know quite a bit more about the Void Century. Maybe other members of the Rogers crew, obviously, like Rayleigh and Scopper Gabon, if he's still around, they would know stuff about the Void Century. But the most that anybody would know, bar none, would be Eam. Eam could have quite possibly have been alive during the Void Century for all we know about this person, right? So this is a little bit more tricky exactly how you're going to fit Eam into all this, but not impossible, not impossible. It really, honestly, is going to come down to how chapter 999 ends. Also, maybe even possibly 998. This could happen in the next chapter, okay? Because Oda's been doing the thing where in between the act breaks in Wano, we've been having like, okay, now between Act 1 and 2, let's cut over to see what Moria and Blackbeard are doing. And in between Act 2 and 3, I think that's when we found out the big reveal about the Yonko bounties, about Whitebeard and Rogers bounties as well, right? So Oda's definitely been doing that. Now, last chapter, chapter 997, ended with quite a big cliffhanger. It ended with Kaido using his epic dragon power to lift up the entirety of Onigashima and move it to the center of Wano, to the flower capital, okay? Now, that chapter did not conclude Act 3, but with such a big reveal, 998 might very well be the end of Chapter 3. Now, let me tell you right now, if next chapter ends Act 3, you get ready. You prepare yourself, all right? You do whatever you gotta do, because Chapter 999 is going to be like, you know, we go back, we go to Reverie, or see what's going on with the revolutionaries, or we see what's going on with the rest of the world. Remember how this worked at the end of Act 2. At the end of Act 2, we got chapter 956 and then 957. 956 was crazy enough, because that was the chapter where we saw all the freaking warlords again. We got to see Mihawk, we got to see Buggy, we got to see Hancock, all preparing for the Marines to arrive and, you know, on their respective islands and bring them in. The warlord system was abolished. I remember reading chapter 956 and being like, whoa, this is insane. Next week, we found out, chapter 957, all about the Yonko bounties. Something that blew my mind. I didn't know that Oda was going that fast, that quickly with that, right? So that's what I'm talking about. If 956 and 957 were able to do that thing where it's like 956 is going 0 to 60 and 957 was like 60 to a million, this could definitely happen again, all right? 998, next chapter, ends Act 3. 999, yeah, we cut over to see something about Dragon. We find out Dragon's bounty, or we see who what Shanks was talking about with the freaking Gorosei. You know, what pirate was he discussing? We learned something big, we learned something crazy, and that's not even chapter 1000 yet. Yeah, now that's just a lot of hypotheticals. If next chapter doesn't conclude Act 3, then it's like, all right, maybe chapter 999 will conclude Act 3. Same basic deal. But that's also something important. Like, obviously, if by chapter 999 doesn't end Act 3, then we're still going to be in Act 3 by chapter 1000. So, like, let's say, for example, I don't know, next 2 chapters, we cut around to see the battlefield, we see the fights with Frankie and Sasaki, we see what's up, we conclude the Isoni treatment cure that, you know, Chopper's gonna create, the conflict with Queen, maybe Marco fighting King, we cut around and see these battles, right? If chapter 999 ends with us still at Onigashima without Act 3 concluding, chapter 1000 probably isn't going to cut over to Eam or anywhere else in the world. It's probably going to stay localized in Wano. Oda can always change the rules. It's his manga. I'm just saying that every single act always ends with the chapter. You know what I mean? Like, Act 1 ended at the end of the chapter. Chapter concluded, you know, end of Act 1. Same thing with Act 2. It would just be a little weird, I'm saying, for Act 3 to end in the middle of chapter 1000. I mean, I guess it's feasible. Oda could do it, but, I'm just saying, trying to set things up to prepare. But yeah, that's definitely one way we could find that out. I'm trying to think of all the big things we've learned in the milestones of One Piece. And Oda is, not every mangaka does this. Not every mangaka treats, like, these milestones with something with huge reverence. Sometimes chapter 100 or chapter 500 is just a chapter. Nothing really that insane crazy, right? I remember chapter 500 of Bleach. I remember thinking chapter 500 of Bleach was going to be this, like, crazy thing. And I believe that was during the invasion of, the Seirete, the first invasion with the Vandenreich and everything. And we got some pretty cool scenes and everything, but it wasn't like chapter 500 of Bleach, like, revealed something huge that we just never knew about before. Like, chapter 500, here's freaking Urahara's Bankai. Like, nothing like that. It was in the middle of a battle. But Oda definitely does, he does treat these milestones with a bigger sense of grandioseness, if that's a word. Chapter 100 was when the Straw Hats entered the Grand Line. Chapter 500 was the reveal of Silver's Rayleigh, the right-hand man of Goldie Roger himself, okay? And chapter 600 was almost like the time skip, but chapter 1000, man, Oda knows more than anybody that this is a very rare occurrence, okay? There's a lot of manga out there in Shonen Jump. Some of them only last a few, even like the ones that are allowed to stay in the magazine, the ones that manage to get through that first year. They might last, 100-200 chapters. They tell the story, they end. And the ones that last really, really long, even if they last super long, even like Bleach and Naruto, the ones that were like the big three, getting to chapter 1000, there's a few other manga that have done so. Like Hajime no Ippo, I know, is a big one. There's a lot of other ones. It's not like, only like 2 or 3 manga have done theirs. There's a few that have reached chapter 1000, but even so, it's a pretty big milestone, okay? And with a story as grand as freaking One Piece, Oda knows. He's like, I'm sure he already planned this off a few weeks ago, months ago. At least I hope he did. I hope Oda's not sitting there at his freaking desk right now like, crap, what am I going to do chapter 1000? I told them it's going to be out January 4th. I don't even know what I'm going to do yet. It would be funny if Oda had, like, a bunch of different ideas, kind of like how he said about the end of One Piece. Like, one time in an interview, I think somebody asked Oda, like, what happens if somebody guesses what the One Piece is going to be, or guesses how the story is going to end? Would you change it? And I think Oda said yes, he would. Now, I don't know if Oda was joking about that or what, but that, to me, it kind of showed that Oda might have multiple endings planned. Oda, in his, like, studio, might have a folder that has, like, okay, 5 or 6 possible roads on how One Piece could end. And so he can, like, tweak it to his certain degree, especially since he's been writing the thing since, like, 1997. Maybe chapter 1000, maybe he has a few things he's sitting on right now. Like, he's like, well, I could reveal something about, like, Monkey D. Dragon. I could reveal something about Luffy's family. I could reveal something about Kaido. I could reveal about rocks. I could talk about Im. I could talk about Shanks. I could talk about something involving Big Mom. I could talk about any number of things I think would genuinely satiate the fan base. That would make chapter 1000 a big, like, whoa, this is an incredible chapter. I'm so happy I managed to, be here reading chapter 1000 of this story. I'm so glad I'm caught up with the story. By the way, get caught up with this story. You don't have a lot of time left. If you want to get caught up, if you want to enjoy chapter 1000 when it comes out, and you've read every other chapter of One Piece, and you're only on, like, chapter 27 right now, you need to get moving, right? But no, yeah, like, there's so many different ways you could take it, but the thing that I'm, like, obviously there's, like, percentages here where I'm kind of leaning towards, but right now the percentage that I'm leaning towards the most, the majority, is Act 3 is going to end in the next 2 chapters. Act 3 is going to end at 998 or 999, and chapter 1000 is not going to take place on Onigashima. It's going to take place in somewhere else in the world. And the thing that we find out in some other part of the world might very well connect very well back to Onigashima. It might be something where we cut over to the Marines and we find out that after all this time of Wano being isolated and the Marines staying out of it, Akainu is just like, okay, we're sending a fleet of, like, every battleship we have towards Wano to bring in Kaido and Big Mom and Luffy, like Buster Call the island or bring them all in or something like that. So it might be something big in the rest of the world that's going to connect to Wano, kind of like giving us like the ticking clock, kind of giving us like the, oh crap, not only do they have to defeat Kaido and Big Mom and save Wano and all this crap, this is now going on over here in this part of the world, and we need to deal with that. We might get a follow-up on the Shishibukai. We might find out where's Mihawk right now. Did he fight all the Marines on his island, or did Mihawk just fight some of them and leave? What about Boa? What about Kobe? I know everybody's curious about Kobe. I mean, honestly, I am kind of curious about Kobe. What's Kobe up to? I'm in chapter 999, 1000. You want to queue up really quick on Kobe? So I'm definitely thinking it's going to be one of those. It's going to be like an in-between break chapter, but it's going to be unlike anything we've ever seen before. It's going to be just insane. Oda could literally do an anthology of madness. I don't know if it's ever been stated yet. I know there's going to be like a full color spread, obviously. It's going to be a color page, and it's going to be it's going to be like the magazine cover itself. I mean, this is huge, obviously. But was it mentioned yet that chapter 1000 is going to be an extended chapter? Would not be surprised in the slightest if it would. I would assume it would be. I'm just not 100% sure. But if it was an extended chapter, Oda could go completely crazy with this. We could have every page, like, few panels just skipping all over the world. And once again, like, if it's a regular chapter, that might seem really haphazard. That might seem like, oh man, Oda's just jumping around all over the place. This is crazy. But if there's ever a chapter where this is going to happen, it would be chapter 1000. Chapter 1000 is the weird nexus, I think, where, like, rules don't apply. Like, literally, Oda could do anything from have it be a joke chapter, to have it just continue the fight with Kaido, to have it be a backstory out of nowhere, random flashback, to have it cut over to Marijois or the Revolutionaries or any other part of the world, see what's going on with the Straw Hats, like friends and family or whatever. What's up with the Straw Hats' parents? Oh wait, they're Straw Hats. They don't really have parents. That's sad. But you know what I mean? Like, it could literally be like a crazy 25-page chapter where, like, every page we're cutting around the world. Kind of like how we did a little bit with Roger's little chapters, before, at the end of last year. Around this time last year, we were, like, in the middle of the Odin flashback with Roger and Whitebeard. We thought those chapters were insane, dealing with all that stuff, right? It could be something like that, and I think the most of the fandom would be fine with it. I think perfectly fine. I think the only way that people would be genuinely pissed about chapter 1000 is if Oda just didn't do anything special. Like, if he wasn't anything even different, like the joke chapter idea I threw out. It was literally just like, all right, in this chapter, Chopper cures the virus, and him and Brook go to fight Queen, and we get a few pages of Frankie fighting Sasaki, but nothing major happens there. And then we get another page of Luffy running around Onigashima. He gets up to the 4th level. He fights against a camel headliner with the camel head coming out of the dude's ear, so it's like super lopsided. And he fights him, and he beats him down. Oh, so also the camel dude is smoking cigarettes, because that's going to be a reference, I'm sure. And that seems like a reference Oda would do. Like, the camel dude is a chain smoker, right? So that's funny. He beats him down. And the last scene of the chapter is we see the baboon fighting against Page 1, and then Usopp and Nami and Tama come back to fight them round 2. End of chapter. Like, just, like, individual parts of that would be exciting, but are they chapter 1000 exciting? No, they are not. So I don't think you have to worry about Oda doing anything like that. Like, that's just like, eh. Like if chapter like 995 was chapter 1000, you'd be like, I understand we're getting very technical with the numbers. Man, if chapter 1000 looks like chapter 995, then chapter 957 is chapter 221. I don't even know if I'm making sense at this point. But yeah, I think it's going to be the end of Act 3. I think we're going to get something in the rest of the world or a flashback. I'm just not feeling it being the fight with Kaido itself. Because I still think Luffy's a few more floors away with reaching the roof. I think there's still some stuff with Zoro that needs to be dealt with on the center stage. It's coming soon. I'm not saying, like, I think Luffy is going to get to the roof by anime manga standards within probably the next 5 or 6 chapters. You know, he's gonna finally reach the roof and then fight against Kaido. Could be earlier than that, could be sooner, but I'm just saying he just reached the 3rd level, right? And he's climbing up the ladder to the 4th level, and then there's the 5th level, and then there's the act of actually getting to the roof itself, you know? So, just by manga standards, it's in the rate we're going, I don't think Luffy's gonna reach the roof by chapter 1000, but he could. So, yeah, just comment down below on what you guys think of what's going to happen. Let me know what your thoughts about Brook's afro, too. Why not? Throw him in there. And we'll see. Follow up more when I do the respective reviews, because obviously when we do chapter 998 next week, and then 99, obviously we'll have a better idea of where we're standing with this, if Act 3 is over, and what's going to happen next. But yeah, just be aware of that. If Act 3 ends in chapter 998, I feel Oda is building to something that is earth-shattering in terms of, like, One Piece lore, okay? I might be hyping it up more than is necessary, but it's chapter 1000. You only have one chapter 1000. I love Oda. I love this story. I don't think One Piece is going to make it to chapter 2000. I don't think Oda has another 1,000 chapters in him after this. I don't even think he has another 500 chapters in him after this, okay? Estimating One Piece maybe chapter, maybe not 1100, maybe like 1200 or so. Maybe around there would be the end of the story. Because I think he said chapter 600 at the time skip. That was about halfway done. So I think chapter 1200 or around chapter 1200, that would probably be an okay place to end it. Still a ways off, but, you know, I don't think there's going to be another really big, like, 1500, 2000 milestone. Like, this is probably going to be the last major milestone until it ends. So keep that in mind, and I'm sure Oda has that in mind. So yeah, thanks for watching, everybody. This will be Tekking, Barry, and Brooke signing out. Wang Xi! Yeah, just find out about Wang Xi. That's all I want, Oda. Just show me what Wang Xi looks like. I'll be a happy camper. Later.